What's up, guys? It's me, Jake here, and today I'm going to be talking about a series I actually talked about a little bit on my TikTok. My TikTok's in the link in the description. I just kind of started, but if you want more content from me, that's probably the place where you're going to get it. So yeah, I'm going to be pretty active on there. Most of the days I'm not posting on here. I'll be probably posting on TikTok. If not, I won't be posting on either, but usually I'm going to be posting at least 1 or 2 TikToks a day. So if you want more content from me, go there. But I will say, I talked about this and I thought, why not make a whole video on this series? And that will be Seraph of the End. Now, the reason I want to make a video on this is because I want to talk about why I think Seraph of the End is super mixed. Because I think Seraph of the End is pretty good, but that's it. Because I think that it has very high peaks and very low lows. I kind of want to go into that a little bit more, as the first chapter is an amazing first chapter and encapsulates the reader and brings us a super interesting world with very dark themes and concepts. And then we go into a school arc in chapter 2. That kind of stuff happens a lot in Seraph of the End, where there's a lot of promise, but just because there's a lot of promise doesn't mean that they actually fulfilled that. And I think that that is the main downfall of Seraph of the End. There is a lot of very good arcs, but with every very good arc, there are some very poor arcs. And that's why I think I rate this as 6.5 to 7. And that's because when it's not at its highs, it's like a 9. But when it's at its lows, it's literally a 2. So I kind of want to go more into that, because when I think about Seraph of the End, I don't know how I should recommend it, because I think a lot of people do enjoy this story and the characters a lot, but just because they like the characters doesn't mean they're going to like Seraph of the End in general. Because I think I like Yu and Kimiziki, I think his name is, and all of the people in the main cast a lot, but I just can't get behind the story in half the times, and the main antagonist that shows up a little way farther past the anime is just unbelievably, like, I don't know how I feel about it. And I think the anime really does leave off on a weird spot, and the anime does a great job telling the story and is an amazing anime in my opinion, other than the ending, how they kind of changed the ending of, well, the ending of the anime compared to the manga. They kind of changed it because, of course, the anime didn't actually technically finish. That left off on something that can have a season 2, but of course there is none yet, and I don't think there will be for a really long time. But Seraph of the End is something that's super mixed in the community, I feel. And a lot of people love it, and a lot of people hate it. And even now, there's still a dedicated fan base after the anime stopped like 5 years ago. And the manga took a year off, like a year or 2 off on hiatus. And just seeing that dedication towards a series like this, I can see why they would do it. Because there's a lot of arcs where I'm like, this is an amazing, amazing arc. But right at the end of the arc, it falters and it falls off the face of the earth. But is that bad? Absolutely not, because those highs do make it worth buying in my opinion, and I feel like if they don't botch the next couple volumes, I would probably put it up to a 7, which is a good rating for me. I think a 7 is a pretty darn good rating, because that means 5 is the average, so putting it above average means it's pretty darn good. And I think that the arc we're going into currently is super interesting, and if they don't botch it and they kind of finish it off in a really good way, I think that this series could easily be a 7 to 7.5 in my opinion, but just seeing all these lows makes it really hard to reread, and not only that, but recommending it to people, like I said earlier, is basically near impossible. If you like battle shonens, if you like vampires, demons, angels, all that stuff, you might like this, but the conglomerate of everything in this is kind of weird at times, as having vampires, demons, angels, and all this in one world is kind of interesting. It's very interesting in my opinion, but I don't know how I feel about it, because I don't know if it's done too well. I know the whole demons and vampire thing, that is very interesting to me. I like the whole, like, Black Demon Horse, I think it's called, with, like, this, how they, use these cursed swords used with demons and stuff, and cursed bows, and cursed weapons that are infused with demons, and stuff like that. I think is really, really interesting, but when you really go into it, I think that Seraph of the End has that pitfall, though, in having all these different things mixed together in a world that really isn't explained too much, other than being a post-apocalyptic world with basically like a huge city. That's basically all we really know about this world, and how there's vampires in some places, and humans have control of other places. It's not the best, and having this as a monthly series can also go to its advantage, since I think the art in this can be very amazing at times, but just because it has amazing art doesn't mean it's going to be an amazing story. And I think that's the main pitfall of this whole entire thing, is how the story goes up and down. And I think that Seraph Of The End really did have promise. I read chapter 1, I watched episode 1, I was like, this might be one of my favorite animes or mangas out there. And then, of course, the school arc came, kind of took away a lot of the kind of dark concepts inside that school arc, but it did very much introduce us to a lot of interesting characters, such as Gurin, Hiragani, I think her name is, or something around those lines, the purple-haired girl. If you don't know, I'm terrible with names. And it introduced us to the whole cast, and in my opinion, Gurin is still the best character. I'm probably going to actually get the light novels for Gurin, because I think Gurin as a character is one of the most interesting characters inside the story, if not the most interesting character, and he is one of the main things that keeps me reading this, because Gurin is just so cool. And not only that, he is just so interesting to read about, as Gurin is because Gurin is just that kind of character, where there's a lot of things that happen to him, and there's reasonings behind everything that he does. And it's kind of interesting to see why he did it, and I want to see exactly why he did all the things he did in order to do the things that he wanted to do, and that's why I want to read his light novels. But in my opinion, would I get light novels for any other series that I think is around this rating? Probably not. Because when I think about it, if I put something as a 6.5 or 7, I'm probably not enjoying it enough to get those light novels to actually have the effort, want to put in the effort to read them, other than this series, because this series does have those highs, and if those light novels are on those highs, I will absolutely love them, but if it's on those lows, I'll probably despise them and think they're not good. Like One Piece. I love the Ace's story light novels. They're super fun, they're super interesting, I love Ace, and One Piece is tied as my favorite manga. So I think that makes that series worth it for that. But when it comes to Seraph Of The End, I don't really know if I really want them for that. But Gurin is such an interesting character, and he carries the story so much at points. I think I just have to, in my opinion, but yeah. I don't know what else to say. Basically, it's kind of mid, but not really. It's very confusing with Seraph Of The End. It has highs that are really, really good, and lows that are horrendous. But do I enjoy it? I'll say yes. I think I do enjoy it a bit. I don't know how this video turned out though, because today I just have a terrible time speaking because I have a massive migraine today. So hopefully this turned out good. I hope you guys did enjoy this video, and I hope I see you guys next time. Peace!